Thank you, Tulin and Pablo.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you here in Valencia. Thank you, MIT. Thank you, Ken, Tula. I guess I'm here to tell you the story of a company called Telefonica that is happening to hire people like me without a tie, a team like the one we have with scientists, sociologists, anthropologists, and that is trying to reinvent itself. And it's trying to reinvent itself like many other big companies are trying to do. It's not something that happens only to Telefonica. It's happening to companies like Microsoft. It's happening to companies like Apple. It's happening to institutions like MIT, which are rethinking the way they're teaching every day. And we saw a nice presentation yesterday about the impact that online courses could start having in the traditional way of education. And if you look at the evolution of our industry, and this is an insider's view that I'm going to give you. What we're seeing is that the telecommunication industry has gone over 3 different phases. The first one has about getting fixed access lines to everybody and the beginning of the broadband penetration. The second one was about mobile phones and mobile broadband penetration. Smartphones have been driving that. And the third one, who knows? It's up for grab. And in the meantime, what is happening is that consumers are paying flat rates. There are almost as many mobile phones as people in the planet. So revenues are getting flat, and costs are going up because we consume every time more and more video. We consume more and more content on the internet. And either one of 2 things happen. Either technology helps us through innovation, and we manage to decrease the cost, or we find new revenue sources. If none of those 2 things happen, this is what could happen. If you hold on with me for the rest of this presentation, I'll tell you how we're trying to change perspectives. I'll tell you how we're trying to innovate. I'll tell you how we are trying to transform a mobile phone like this into a bottle of wine like this. But before I start, I'm going to do a very simple exercise. I'm going to show a slide now. This is an exercise that I repeat constantly with senior vice presidents of innovation in different companies. And you are a very smart audience, so I'm sure you're going to get it right. I'm going to give you 3 seconds. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 when I flip the slide. And I'm going to ask you to count the number of red dots in the slide. Okay? Very easy. Count until 3. And I just want you to count the number of red dots in the slide. Okay? There we go. 1, 2, 3. How many? 9, 10. Oh, God, they're really good. Yeah, 2, 4, 10. Now, anybody can tell me how many green dots were there? You see? Yeah, almost, right? Well, see, there's 6, but they were very big. And they were just that right there for you to grab. It happens all the time in organizations. We're giving a task, we're giving a challenge, we're giving a focus, try to find the red dots, and we're very good at it. Now, we may have the next biggest opportunity right there. We just need to change perspective. And sometimes we don't even realize the green dots are there for grab. So I'm going to tell you a story about how we're changing perspectives. How we're changing perspectives, and we're providing new services to our consumers, new services to business and corporations, and we're trying to go into areas that you have never even imagined. Let me start by the individual. Anybody recognizes this? This is the phone bill that you get every month, right? And it has 3 basic things that are very important. It has the amount of money that you spent, the person that you call, and the duration for which you've called. Now, let me step back for 1 second. Can somebody tell me what is the largest social network in the world? Facebook? Twitter? LinkedIn? No. It happens to be the mobile phone network. It connects 6 billion people. Facebook is connecting 1 billion people. And it's a phone network, it's a social network that it is very valuable. It is authenticated. It has billing information, has location information, and it's very useful for business. Have you ever WhatsApp your dentist? No, right? You still use their phone numbers. So how about taking that social graph and revealing it to the end users? This is mine. If you call me up, if you call that number, please don't do. But if you call me up, my phone will ring. And I'm in the middle in yellow, right? And then the other circles around me are my friends. And the other smaller circles are the friends of my friends. And I'm realizing how close I'm to some people and how some of the friends of my friends are closer to me than my actual friends. And I had never seen my phone network, but it's actually a very powerful social network. And how about, rather than having something like this phone bill, we actually turn it into something like this, right? And we take your phone bill and we start looking at it from a different perspective. We start giving you access to that data back to you. And you can start figuring out which are your most neglected friends, which have been your whereabouts over the last months, what are your calling patterns, but more importantly, what type of applications and services you can do with this data, because it's very useful data. It can be a proxy to get cheap loans. You can start proving to different entities that you are a trusted person by using your phone data. Your calling patterns change as you start getting sick. If you share it with your doctor, they can help you have a better lifestyle. You can even try to find a nanny to take care of your child because you know a friend that has been using a trusted nanny that you want to use. In a sense, what I'm saying is that with all that data that we have, if we give it back to consumers, if they take it and they collect it, all those data traces of their digital identity, they're going to be able to start using that information for themselves to get good services that provide them with value. In a sense, what I'm saying is that I believe that we're going to go from writing applications and services to the PC, to writing applications and services to the cloud, to writing applications and services to the individual as a digital data representation of themselves and using the mobile phone data as the basis for that. Big paradigm change. The second one is how we can help business and corporations. And let me ask you something. How many people do not have a mobile phone with you right now? Huh. Well, that's easy, right? But the thing is, if I make the same question in Africa, if I do it in Japan, if I do it in India, if I do it in London, in Sao Paulo, I'll probably get a similar answer. Because it is becoming something that it's so attached to you that you never leave it. And it's becoming a sensor of information. It's becoming a sensor of what's happening in the cities. It's becoming a sensor of what's happening in the countries. How does this data look like if you aggregate it and anonymize it? It looks something like this. This is the traffic data in the UK in real time of how people are commuting from one part of the country to another part of the country. And this data is very useful for governments, for health organizations, for institutions. Let me give you some basic information about something that we're currently doing in Barcelona. The tourist industry is the largest industry in Spain, and is an industry that is based on very manual information and very static information. It's either samples, surveys, counting people. How about using this aggregated mobile phone information to help the tourist office understand what are the tourists that are arriving in the city, and more important, what is it that they're doing. This is what Russians are doing when they are arriving in Barcelona. They get through the boat, and you would expect that the next thing that they do is they go to the beach, yes they do, and they go to the north, they go to Figueres to see the Dalí Museum, yes, but they do something interesting, which they go inland, and that was very surprising. You'll see it here in the video. And what we realized is that at a certain point in the second day, in their stay, they go and visit the Virgin of Montserrat. So if you are in the tourist office in Barcelona, it's very important for you because you start preparing packages around religious activities when you get into Barcelona. We've done this for Barcelona. Can you imagine we could do it for Valencia, for Turkey, Sao Paulo, and helping institutions around the world do better city planning, helping with emergency services, disease propagation, up for imagination. And through this path, by changing perspectives, by looking at things in a different way, we're learning a different set of skills. And I'm going to finish off by giving you an example of the type of skills that we're acquiring through this path. And what I'm going to talk about is how we're moving from measuring bits to measuring bytes. And let me go back to that slide with the points. To me, if I change perspective, rather than being a quiz, a test for senior vice president, this looks to me like a colorful paella, now that we're in Valencia, right? But you know what? This is the internet. This is the graph of the internet that we as telecommunication companies, we've built, and we know very well how it works. We've managed it for many years. But you know what this is? This is the food ingredient network of El Bulli, the most famous restaurant in the world. And they look alike, right? Yes, they do. El Bulli closed forever at its peak, cover of the Financial Times, and is reopening as a research foundation to focus just on innovation, and working with Telefonica to figure out new ways in which technology can help an area so far apart from technology such as cooking. If we manage to help a cook keep succeeding at innovating, then I think we can help a lot of other institutions. Let me just leave you with this video.
Cuando Telefónica me comentó para ser embajador de la marca Telefónica Figurar, una empresa de 200.000 personas, la responsabilidad que es para mí quedar bien con ellos, ¿no? Es decir, que ser ético, honesto, pues una responsabilidad. Al final la innovación, la creatividad es una actitud en la vida. Es levantarte por la mañana y hacer cosas. Gracias a la tecnología, el Bulli Foundation tiene sentido. ¿Sí? La gran cuestión es el compartir el conocimiento. Un plato de la historia del Bulli como restaurante. El espíritu del Bulli, estos abrazos, ¿sabéis cuál es, no? Pasión por lo que haces, compartir, libertad y riesgo. El Bulli se transforma, no se cierra.
The thing that I like the most out of that video is that moment when Ferran says, without technology, El Bulli Foundation wouldn't have a meaning. And pork chops, fries, mushrooms, they all share a lot of ingredients, but what we're realizing is that the way LV creates his food network, it's creating dishes that surprise you. And what we're trying to do is give them tools so they can keep creating at the highest level. Tools like this one that are going to be able to help them understand what type of combinations have worked, but more importantly, what type of combinations they can create to keep surprising us with great dishes. I've promised that if you stuck with me until the end of the talk, I will tell you how a mobile phone can be turned into a bottle of wine. This is like the fish and the wine story. And that happens because yesterday, I don't know if many of you attended the talk by Arduino, but we did a partnership with Arduino to bring those chipsets to life, give them connectivity anywhere in the world. And what we did is we embedded an Arduino with a mobile phone inside this bottle. This bottle now has location information, has sensors in terms of temperature, in terms of pressure, and it goes into a pallet of wine. We remove one of the real ones, which we drink, and we put this other one, and it's being shipped all the way to China to transport good Catalan wine into and make sure that it arrives in the best conditions and is being able to be monitored all the way until it gets delivered to its destination. So I think I've tried to inspire you with how by changing perspectives, how by taking a look in a different way at the things that we have around us, we can innovate. Marcel Proust used to say that the real voyage of discovery is not seeking new landscape, but having new eyes. And I urge you to look at which are your new perspectives in your company, in everyday business. Thank you.
So this is audience participation time. Who would like to give the first question? Spanish, Asturian, Turkish, or English? How about these guys over here? First question. Well, for sure you take the microphone to Miguel down here, because he cares about innovation and he roadmaps innovation. Right here.
I hate you, Ken. I hate you, really. Okay, my question is about three of you, because the two other speakers are big companies. I would like to put the point in the differences between making innovation in smaller and in bigger companies.
Okay. They think about that all the time. Pablo?
I couldn't get the question.
Julian?
Sorry.
What's the difference between innovating in a large company with resources and organizational structure and innovating in a small company that you never know whether you're going to have the money by Friday to make the payroll?
So, inside a large company, like Telefonica, there are two good things that you have. First, you have the resources. You can have the investment to make things happen. Second, you have the customer insight, because you are working in that industry all the time. And third, you can accelerate things. But I think Ken was mentioning, decision speed sometimes is not at par. And the other thing is that you may be turning around in circles yourself. I say that by working with small companies, that's the only way that large corporations will be able to innovate in the future. It will be those ones that are able to create that ecosystem, like for instance what Telefonica is doing with Wayra, by making sure that entrepreneurs can have a chance to develop their ideas, that large companies are going to be able to get the innovation, because most of the innovation will come from outside. Now, I've been on both sides of the pond, so I did few startups when I was in California, and now working on large corporations. The thing that I enjoyed the most out of a small startup is that I could take decisions very quickly. I was my own decision maker, and we could pivot and change every time. Every 2 months, we could take a new idea and test it out, and we didn't have to ask for permission from anybody. I wish that large corporations will be able to become more entrepreneur and get infected from some of that spirit.
What I can say is that the good part, of course, we have resources, that's good. And on the other hand, there are thousands of ideas are coming. We call it, the ideation part, we are just, diverging. And then there is still a possibility, although we believe that we have a good system of, assessing those things through several approaches like project management, still there is a possibility that a good idea might be, might be not seen between all those ideas. Secondly, I believe that in small companies, risk-taking appetite and might be higher, so they might have a better opportunity when you compare to bigger companies.
So you face the problem of the green dots and the red dots. I want you to see. We couldn't see what was inside. Next question. Senor. Question for Pablo. She's bringing. By the way, both of these guys with the questions are companies in the Valencia Global Growth Program. So they have global ambition, and they're based in Valencia.
So, Pablo, congratulations for your presentation. It was really interesting and nice. I would like to ask you something. You are working and you are involved in research and development with Telefonica. And one of the things that everybody is always complaining is about the virtual assistant. When you have problems and you try to call Telefonica to solve your problems, you are always complaining because it's a terrible situation. Are you working on that? Are you expecting to have something better? I don't think so, but...
So let me tell you. This is one of the most complicated things that you do when you run a service. If my Apple TV crashes, I'm not sure who I'm going to call. If my dad cannot install Skype, he calls me. If you cannot find things on your computer, you're not going to pick up the phone and call Microsoft. But if anything happens with the phone service, you call the operator. And it is so relevant within an organization to provide 24/7 call support that out of the 120,000 employees, we probably have about 70,000 people answering phone calls every day, every night, to make sure that you get a good answer. Now, are we working on it? Yes, I think there is innovation. I think there has been a push towards localizing more of the call centers and getting closer to people. So, because personal connection is very important. Sometimes you're upset and you want something just to listen to you, and maybe a minor problem, but you just want somebody that understands your emotional state and listens to what you need. So I think localization is going to be one, and then increasing the technology support for them is going to be another one. So if you have a good idea, please come and see me.
By the way, that problem or challenge or opportunity is not unique to Spain. Tulin used to work for Turkcell. She played a key role in opening a call center in the eastern part of Turkey together with her boss. Soraya, and they made a major change, not only in customer service, but also in employing women for the first time in Eastern Turkey. So that it was doing good and doing well at the same time, a very admirable and risky step. We have time for another question, and then I have a question for all of you. One more. I know I sound like Columbo. Just one more question.
Kender.
Yes, sir. Just stand up and shout. I'll repeat it. Question for Pablo.
When did you receive your last SMS message? And how does Telefonica in research and innovation compete with companies that introduce very quick services almost for free to a very large audience like WhatsApp that does something with your market, that does something with your company, that needs to do something with your innovation strategies? Did you see that coming? Is it on the radar? Is it something that Telefonica thinks about?
You know, I'm not. Did you get the?
Yeah.
I
Okay,
couldn't
so
hear you
his
very well.
question is, SMS is exploding. Did you see it coming? And what are you going to do about it?
Especially the WhatsApp. So WhatsApp eating
And
part of the market.
Well, you know, I think part of the talk was about finding some of the answers to what you were saying. I think the communications is moving to other channels, and we have to be there. So, for instance, we recently acquired a company in Israel that is a voice over IP company. It's called Jaja, and we have a service in the UK that is called To Go, that is the Skype service of Telefonica. So we also bought a company in Silicon Valley last year that is doing web RTC video conferencing. And we have 20 in Spain, which is a social network that is empowering the youth in the mobile phone. So the short answer is yes. The long answer is probably embedded somewhere in the slides about what will be the solution. But unless we try fast, and we keep iterating, we won't be able to hit. And I'd rather hit right and keep doing things fast than missing the boat. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
that is a perfect way to conclude the panel. We got to try. We got to keep innovating. We can't give up. And now I would like to ask all of you, of course, to sit on the edge of your seat for the TR35. But I know for a fact that Tulin came here and was serious when she said she is genuinely interested in learning from you about how she can improve market share in Spain. So during the coffee break, Tulin, you'll be available outside in the sunshine.
Yeah.
And those of you who have some advice and suggestion for her, that's her mission. And all of the big companies, please stand out there with a sign that says, I'm a big company, I'm looking for small companies to work with, because there is no better honest broker than EmTech to get innovation accelerated here in Valencia. Thank you all very much.